Hello, YouTube. I'm just waiting for TikTok to turn up. Hello. You've been here before, haven't you, Brittany? Jess, I don't recognize that name. Lakes B. Nursing with Emma. You've been here before. Traveling with Emma and Sassy, was that it? Oh, I forgot my microphone again. I keep forgetting. I keep my microphone right in front of me, and yet I keep forgetting. I need it for YouTube. So, okay. There we go. All set up. Hello, Victoria never mind. I'm just going to mess it up. So while we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I always find that fascinating. So what part of the world are you from? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. It's gorgeous out right now. Okay, Romania. Hi, Romania. Have you been here before? Lakeland, Florida. You've been here, pretty sure. Brittany from Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland. What a nice name for a city. Lakeland. I'm from Lithuania, originally, but live in the UK. You've been here before, haven't you? Lafayette, Louisiana. Did I say that right? Wonderlands. Wow, where's that? Wonderlands. Where's that? What a great name, eh? Wonderlands. Where do you live? Wonderlands. Yes, I've been. Yeah, I remembered you. Where do you live? I live in Wonderlands. I love that. Are you a teacher? Gosh, no, I could never do that. No way, not a teacher. Saskatchewan. My dad was from near Saskatoon on a farm. He grew up back in the day. He was born in 1922. He died years ago. And he lived on a farm, and in the winter they had an outhouse. They had no indoor plumbing, and they had an outhouse, and they had to tie a rope around their waist so that they wouldn't get lost in the snowstorm going to the outhouse. Wow, eh? Okay. Lafayette. So Lafayette. Did I say it wrong? Lafayette. Did I say it wrong? Lafayette. Okay. I don't know why I'm really sleepy this morning. You know how some days you're just not quite waking up. I had a busy morning. Anyway, okay, so let's get going. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's bratbusters.com. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. The behavior board's different because you're on there too. So you have to be accountable. You're showing your kids how to be accountable, right? So, and they love being able to discipline their parents. So you yell, you have to do something for them. It's all good stuff. Okay. My 9-year-old daughter said she doesn't care about the behavior board anymore. It wears out. It only has a shelf life. The behavior board is the first 3 weeks. If you're not backing it up within the moment discipline and all the other leadership stuff, it has a shelf life. So yeah, it only really, you want it 3 to 6 weeks is sort of when you want to use the behavior board. Then you kind of toss it. You can bring it out every so often to get organized with chores and stuff like that. But yeah, you got to back it up with other stuff. So if you want my help with all that other stuff, that you have to hire me for coaching. So, but the behavior board, some people sail right through that. You're just doing something, you're missing something there potentially. So how do you react to a 15-month-old who whines to everything? You already answered that. You don't react. Just let them whine. Just go about your business. You're not ignoring them, like you're not walking out of the room, but you're not addressing the whining. There's no point. Other than chores, what can I do for punishment? You take something away, you have them do something for you, like an act of kindness. So they have to brush your hair or something like that, or give you a manicure or something, acts of kindness. So may I ask your credentials are to provide child behavioral advice? I don't give child behavioral advice. I give parenting advice. Okay. So it's a big difference. Anyway, a lot of my clients have development and child development degrees. But anyway, that's their lane. They hire me because I have a parenting expertise. It's different. So anyway, I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 and found I was very good at bringing out the best in kids. It was always sort of what I was good at, bringing out the best in kids. And that's sort of what I've been doing for 51 years. So there we go. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, I know he's young, right? 21-month-old, that's very young. Just laughs every time I try to say no, stern voice and all. Yeah, they're just testing you. They're just trying it out. They're just seeing if that laugh is going to have any effect on you. I would just follow through with whatever you're doing. And then just the laugh is just, I never address attitude because the attitude comes later. Once you get yourself set up as a leader, the attitude follows. But he's just two, right? They don't make any sense yet. They don't try and figure them out. But yeah, 2-year-olds, toddlers, 1 and 2-year-olds, they're just brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. So don't try and make sense out of them because they don't make sense yet. They haven't got sense yet. Start to get it when they're about 3. Oh, is someone getting snotty in here? You know I love that. You know I do. It's just a reflection on you. It doesn't have anything to do with me. If you're rude and snotty, it just makes you look bad. So, yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Uh, okay. How do you deal with a 3-year-old that pees her pants when she gets mad? I don't know what's going on there. That could be a bladder control issue. So every time she has heightened emotions, she just wets herself. It could be that, or it could be she's doing it on purpose to get back at you. I don't know which one it is. So I can't answer that because it's very different answers. Okay. I've seen a lot of creators give her a bad name, so I wanted to hear it. Yeah. I came on, try not to smirk. I came on TikTok, I think it was March last year. And oh my God, the hate I received. And it was fantastic. I'm a big threat. I'm only a threat because maybe I start to make sense. Maybe I'm challenging people's beliefs, and I'm okay with that. So, but yeah, I was just attacked right, left, and right, and I was loving it. And but anyway, yeah, you're only attacked when you're a threat. So think about that. It was the biggest compliment I could have gotten. Okay, I've been tuning in every day. Thanks so much for that. I don't have a regular schedule with these, so I purposely try and mix it up. I just go around appointments with clients and that. I try and mix it up because I've got different time zones, different places, but all of my lives now are being recorded on YouTube. So anyone who can't turn up can see them on YouTube. I have hundreds because I do them every day. I have hundreds of them saved on TikTok before I was doing YouTube, but I went back. I can't stand looking at them again. It's hard to watch yourself. It's just boring, right? So anyway, but I tried to watch one of them about a year ago, and I'm glad they're not saved. Like, there's no way they were as good as they are now. I just wasn't as quick at, coming up with stuff because you got to get into a routine with all this stuff. So, but all the ones in the last, I'd say 3 months are all saved. How to deal with name calling. My boys are 6 and 4. Use the behavior board, and you put on the behavior board, no bad words or no name calling, something like that. And then every time there's a consequence. If they call someone a name, they have to do something nice for that person. So yeah. We can tell he's having a hard time. Who was that? I have to look back. Sarah Fisher. We can tell he's having a hard time. Were you born in 89? Is that your birthday? My son was born in 89. Okay, I'm going to look back and see what you said originally. I'm not very good at going back. I tend to get dizzy. You get old, this happens, right? I don't see anything. Drats. Okay. So if you have a question, maybe you could repost it. I'm just wondering who's having a hard time. But won't say what. Well, how old is he? That makes a big difference. That's sort of something that I do a lot in coaching, is getting information out of kids. If I know the age, I could sort of maybe give you some advice. Oh, 6-year-old not communicating about school. Okay, so something's going on at school. He's not telling you. He's probably ashamed. You know what? They usually don't talk about being bullied or any mean stuff. They tend to hesitate before they even talk about it. There's lots of reasons for that. You don't need to know that, but they often don't want to talk about that. Anyway, use role playing. You pretend that you're him and say, look, something going on at school, I'm going to be you. You be the teacher, or you be another student, and we'll start role playing. You just act out, have fun with it, like theater. Act stuff out. Stuff tends to come out a lot easier when you're role playing. Oh, what toys or how many toys to get for the fourth birthday boy? P.S. You're the best. Thank you. Oh, thanks so much for that. I appreciate that. Okay, I don't know. I always I got a lot of Lego for my son, a lot of stuff that built on whatever he had already that he really enjoyed. He loved Lego. My daughter was harder. She didn't have one thing that she absolutely loved. My son loved gaming and Lego, so he was really easy. But I didn't overdo it. I was very careful about that. And whenever they did get toys from other people and that, I would put a lot of that away and bring it out in the toy rotation system. So yeah, I wasn't one to spoil my kids with stuff. I was very adamant about that. And so I didn't get them a lot. But one thing that we did do, we spent a lot of money on experiences. Like we'd go traveling, go skiing, somewhere a different country or whatever. So we did the experiences is where we put our money with our kids, not the stuff. So um, and we'll give it a try, the role playing. Yeah, it works, but have fun with it. That's the thing. It's got to be fun. Don't say we're going to role play now. I'm going to be your teacher. And you got to have fun with it. Any advice on a 2-year-old girl's tantrums? I want it. It's mine. Yeah, tantrums are an outburst of not getting their own way. That's why they need to be ignored. They need to learn. Hey, wait. If I'm not getting my way all the time, I might be ignored. So what they do is when you ignore a tantrum, they learn how to communicate in better ways. And tantrums are not feelings. Tantrums are just an outburst at not getting what they want, when they want, and how they want it. That's why we ignore them. It's a way that they communicate. We want to eliminate that way of communicating. That's all it is. They'll learn other ways. And you don't need to validate just because they're not getting their own way. It's okay. They learn. That's how they learn. They're watching you. You're a calm leader. You're right there. You're not walking away from them. You're right there, but you're not talking to them. You're not interacting with them while they're having a tantrum. 4.5-year-old nose picking help. I don't think anyone's ever asked me about, oh no, they have. Yeah. Sorry, they have. It's kind of I would say it like this. It's a private thing. It's like going to the bathroom. It's something that's private. Everybody does it, but it's private. So there's nothing wrong with picking your nose. You don't want them to think that this is a horrible thing to do. Nothing wrong with picking your nose, but it's like going to the toilet. It's private. That's how I would word it. But I wouldn't punish for that. Did you travel a lot with your kids when they were toddlers? No. More so when they got older. When they were like 4 and 5 and up, more. Did one big trip. Yeah, well, my daughter was the easy one. She was 3. We went overseas, a big trip back to Canada from Australia. That's where we lived. But my son was 1.5 when we went to Canada. Oh, yeah, that was a rough age because they're all feet, no brains, right? So everything's a potential danger. Yeah, I strongly suggest experiences. Yeah, experiences. We just did everything. Like we're all over the city. In Brisbane, we had this great park area. The free museums, all the museums there and galleries are free. Art galleries are all free. We did a lot of that. They had like a dinosaur museum, and I mean, it was just fantastic. But yeah, they had like this really neat area that was great. It was all free. Parking wasn't, but everything was free there. So yeah, I did a lot of experiences with the kids. Boston. Hi, Boston. Been struggling with that, having experiences. Yeah, that's what I want to start doing. Yeah. By the way, the best way to get close to your kids and connect with them is to enter their world. You don't take them places and watch them do stuff. You take them places and do it with them. Be interactive with your kids. You enter their world. It's the best way to connect with them. So, like at the park, I would be the weird mom rolling down the hill with the kids, and all the other moms were chatting. I did a lot of that too, by the way. I did a lot of just chatting to moms, but I was also the weird one that would do stuff with the kids, and we'd have swinging contests. And so I entered their world. It tends to make them feel more validated, more, I don't know how to explain it. It just does something different to them. All kids know they're loved if they have loving parents usually. But feeling validated and feeling like that your world is valuable to your parent and they actually enjoy it, there's a whole other level of something going on there, connecting. It's just a whole other level. My son and stepson sees everything as a competition. They argue all the time. What can I do? Um, I don't know how old they are. It would help. Like, are they 15 or 5? It would help to know the age. Usually with almost everything I need an age. My answers vary greatly depending on the age. 7 and 8. Oh, okay, 7 and 8 years old. I would play a lot of games with them and focus on how it's played, not who wins. My mom used to always rave about my brother and I being such good sports, and we are. We're great sports. We play hard, but we don't care if we win or lose, which sounds crazy. We play to win, but we don't care if we win. This doesn't make any sense, does it? But yeah, we're very good sports, both of us. And my mom raved about that all the time, and because she hated bad sports, she hates that. And she's passed away now, but she always hated a bad sport because she just didn't. It wasn't like a personality trait she liked at all. So anyway, but what she used to do is she focused on playing well. She always said, oh, "You played that so well." And she always said, "It's better." Why have I got that on? Oh, right. Okay. She said, "It's better to play well and lose than not play well and win." Like, she didn't like just luck, dumb luck. So, but yeah, so focus on how they play, not who wins. But you got to be interactive with that. They're going to learn by you being with them. You got to do it with them. Entering their world is so important. I don't talk about that enough. I should talk about it more. That's how I connected with kids, was I entered their world. Enter their world more. Didn't do it all the time, but I did it a lot. What can I do about 3-year-old hitting me and her sister when she gets mad? Put down no hitting on the behavior board, and whenever she hits, there's a consequence. If she hits her sister, I'm assuming it's a younger sister. If so, that younger sister gets to play with her favorite toy or doll or whatever for an hour. Okay, so if you're mean to someone, you have to do something nice for them. So put it on the behavior board, no hitting, and have a consequence there. Dealing with major impulse control issues with 7-year-old. Answer is always, I don't know why. Well, I guess so many different answers for different actions. So I don't quite know what. I kind of need an example because I've got too many answers with that one. I always get stumped when I've got too much to say, and I don't want to go off on a tangent when it has nothing to do with what you said. So if you could just put that down again and then say an example of what, and then I could maybe figure out what's going on. I love watching your lives and videos. Thanks so much. I appreciate that support. How do you ignore tantrums at all ages in childhood? I just stand there filing my nails and I'm not looking at them. But I'm showing them how, I'm modeling calm behavior. And then once they join me, then I'm there for them. Then I say something like, "Oh, do you want to go to the park?" I don't discuss the tantrum. It would be like if you knew an adult who just started screaming and everything. Would you intervene with that? You'd just go, "What a nutcase!" Like, those are adults who their tantrums were fed growing up, guaranteed. So if my kids ever had a scene or anything in public, I think I'd faint. Like, they just wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just, you don't conduct yourself that way. So yeah, you just ignore it. I've got tons of videos on ignoring tantrums. I'm kind of new on Instagram. My daughter manages that because I just don't know anything I don't understand Instagram. Anyway, I don't understand TikTok either, but I'm on here now. So, but anyway, about a year ago when I first went on here, I got just attacked for talking about ignoring tantrums. So now, because I'm quite new on Instagram, that's all, because I miss that, right? I love that. I love knowing I'm shaking things up. And then on Instagram, that's all happening right now. My daughter and I are celebrating it. Like, that's good. If you're not upsetting the apple cart, you're not making any changes or any differences. So it's really, really, really important to ignore a tantrum, because it's not a feeling. It's an outburst of not getting their own way. Okay, it's just a whole different thing. You don't ignore feelings, you ignore tantrums, but you still don't have to validate absolutely every single feeling. I want my own way and I'm not getting it. It's okay to ignore that. You do not need to validate that. Like, if an older kid said that, I want that, and they're being just ridiculous, I would just go, whatever, There's no freaking way I would converse with that. No way. But a child who does that, guaranteed they were having their tantrums fed with attention. Guaranteed. There's no way a child would act like that at 6 years old if you weren't feeding their tantrums. There's no way. Should I be disciplining my 2-year-old? Yeah, but you do it through consistent corrective action. So if they're hitting people, you just say no every single time, and you take the toy away or whatever they were hitting with. You just say no, and it's very calm every single time. Consistent corrective actions, because they learn through repetition. Okay, there's no anger, no yelling. My 5-year-old screams that I'm mean when being told no. We enforce being nice on. So you're mean. They're not getting their own way. You're mean. Whatever. Like, it wouldn't have any effect on me whatsoever. It's just a manipulation tactic. It means it would have worked. He's been trained to do that, by the way. There's no way he would say anything like that unless it would have worked in the past. What do you mean I mean? You be nice. You be nice. See, he's getting attention. It's working. He's getting attention. So yeah. He's been taught to do that. So just go, whatever, just ignore it. There's a lot going on there. 4-year-old son keeps running away from counselors at camp and won't his hands to himself. I don't know what's going on there. Won't keep his hands to himself? You mean he's hitting other kids? I don't know what you mean by that. So yeah, I'd need just maybe just one little topic and be more specific, because is he hitting or... What age can a child decide what parent to live with in split custody home? That's a legal issue. I can't get into that. And that would be, yeah, that's legal. I don't touch that stuff. Custody battles, don't touch it. I don't touch it. How did you become so knowledgeable about this? You have a great way of wording things. My mother was my inspiration. She was a very good leader. She never yelled once, ever, never lost her temper, ever. She was very calm, very funny, chatty, just my best friend. I told her everything. I have to admit, I think I learned a lot from her. Yeah, my mom. And then I was born really maternal, so I was always mothering everything. And then I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11. I was just I know I was meant to do this. And then when I was mentoring troubled teenagers, they said, you've got to teach this. So they told me to do it. I would never have done this. Like, it wouldn't have dawned on me. What's a parenting coach? I know it, but the teenagers all said, you got to teach this. So they told me to do it. Because you know why? I knew how to get the best out of them by making them like themselves. It wasn't about impressing me. It was about liking themselves. And that's what you want. You want kids to like themselves and be proud of who they are. That's what this is all about. And then if you're the source of that, wow. You see? So you're building them up. That's what this is all about. You don't want obedient little soldiers. You want kids who like themselves. I had to leave work to pick him up from camp today because he kept hitting and pushing his friends. Something's going on at home. I don't know what it is. Like, are you a leader at home? Kids who have a leader, no, there's 2 reasons he's doing that. Either there's some real serious bullying going on there, either by him or someone else. But if it's him, something's going on at home. Like, everything starts at home. Are you a leader at home? Because they don't do that as a behavioral problem if you're a leader at home. So work on your leadership skills, or else investigate. Was he actually being bullied? But if he is the bully, work on your leadership skills. Leaders don't have bullies for kids, and their kids aren't bullied either. Yeah. Oh, you're still asking me something I don't want to comment on about when do they decide who they live with. No, I'm not going to get into that. Because maturity is very different, and they don't always know what's good for them, right? I'd say maybe 18. There you go. There's an age. 3-year-old won't listen when I say no or stop. That's just a tell. It means they don't respect you. So work on your leadership skills. It starts at the age of 3 with my behavior board. It's free on my website, bratbusters.com. And it just is a tell. It means they don't respect you. So you just work on your leadership skills, and then they'll respect you. Thank you for sharing. You're very welcome. I love doing this. This is all my free content. And I really love doing this because I get emails every single day from parents telling me how much I've helped. They say, I've tried everything else, nothing worked. And then I just did that one thing and gold. It's starting to work. And I'm like, that's why I'm here. Imagine what that feels like. Like, when you're trying to help people and then every single day people tell you they're helping you. You're helping them. Like, it's very, very rewarding. I'm in my 60s now. I've worked my butt off for this. I've been doing this now for 17 years, so I kind of figured it out. 2-year-old throws food on the floor. Would you refill the plate? Or I would never refill the plate. If they're throwing their food, they learn very quickly. I hand feed them. They do not get any more food in their hands for that meal, just for that meal. As soon as they throw it, I go, no, and then I hand feed them. Just take charge. You're the leader. Are they going to kick and scream and have a fit and not eat? Potentially. That's on them. That's up to them. The next meal, they usually learn by the next meal. They can go one meal with just having a few bites. They'll survive. Okay. My son is 8 and he is very kind with his friends, but he has very rude friends. I feel he is weak compared to them. So he's a doormat. Friends are walking all over him. I don't know what's going on there. I'd have to assess what kind of parent you are to figure that out, because his basic nature might be more the pleaser. Like, it might just be his basic nature. So you want to build him up a bit more. But is he drawn to people who treat him like crap? Sometimes people are just sort of more like that. That's that basic nature in them, that they desperately like to be bullied around, told what to do. It sometimes can happen. So you can help a little bit, but to be honest, some people are just like that. I don't understand that, because I've met adults who are like that. And why would you take that? And they just seem it's their comfort zone. Doesn't mean they were raised that way or anything. Quite the opposite. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. I have to find out a few things first. When did it start? How exactly are they taking advantage of them? 2 almost 3-year-old screams at top of lungs. Should I ignore until it stops or say something? I would not say anything. That's like a tantrum kind of thing. I might look over like this and then look away. It's important that they know you know what they're doing, but this is how you're reacting to it. Like, that's never going to work. You're telling them that's never going to work. That's all you're telling them. Ignoring that stuff is just communicating. It's never going to work. Learn a better way of communicating. And they do. What are some leadership skills? I would say have you ever dealt with kids with ODD? Oh my God, yes. Absolutely. Okay. What are some I've never been handed an easy kid because I've worked with hundreds of kids. Not one person ever said to me, here's an easy one, Lisa. They were I called them alphabet kids. They had all the alphabets after their name. Leadership skills, number 1 is listening. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. That's the number 1 parenting skill for almost any age. You do not listen to gather information to lecture with. You listen to understand and show empathy and understanding. Number 1 parenting skill. Guaranteed. It'll take you right through the teen years. Subscription is expiring in 48 hours. I have no idea what that people keep talking about subscriptions with me. I don't know what that means. Is there a subscription on here and then they say, oh yes, you can subscribe, but there's no money. Like, I don't know. You can just look at all this for free, and I don't get any money at all on TikTok. So there's no buying. So someone said I bought a subscription to you. I don't have any of that. So I don't know. It's just frustrating me, because I spent like half a day trying to figure that out, and I never figured it out. So you may not even be referring to that, but lots of people have. Like, what? Okay. If you're a yeller, put it on the behavior board. Put down no yelling for the parent. If you're a yeller, most parents are. If you yell, you put down no yelling as your rule, and then you have to do something for the kids. It's all laid out in the behavior board. So it's all there for you. Explains it all. Being a parent it's important to make mistakes, to show them how to make amends, to show them you're human, to show them that they're valuable enough to apologize to and make it up to them. You don't just say sorry. Sorry is an empty word to me. It means nothing to me. It's like you kill someone. Oh, I'm sorry I killed everybody. Sorry. And then you go, You're not mad, you're still mad, and then they go, "You're not very forgiving." The word sorry is so overused. It's so entitled. I said I was sorry. There's 4 steps to apologizing. Number 1 is say you're sorry just to start the ball rolling, but I don't give a crap about that. Number 2 is say, "I shouldn't have done that." Take full accountability and responsibility for what you did wrong. The 3rd step is make amends. Say, "What can I do to make it up to you?" The 4th step is don't keep doing it, or else none of that meant anything. So yeah, say, "I'm sorry, it was all my fault. What can I do to make it up to you?" And then stop doing it. That's a true apology. That's one that means something. Are all toddlers little a-holes? They're completely crazy. So they're not all little a-holes. No, some of them are. Some of them have more urges than others. They just see something. They're all different, but they're just crazy. They're just learning. They're just forming, right? So yeah. You know what's interesting is whenever people hire me with, then they have older kids, 3 and above, and they also have a toddler. Not one of them in 17 years that I can remember has ever asked me anything about their toddler, no matter what's going on, because they understand toddlers are just crazy. Wait it out. They're cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. Don't try and figure them out. So yeah. The one thing I would say that made my life really easy with my toddlers was I completely child-proofed my entire house. Everything was above the waist. So I never had to say no. I never had to watch them. It was, and oh, friends loved coming over with kids because they said, "Oh my God, we can just let our kids go. We don't even have to worry about it." I said, "Yeah." Um, and then they weren't used to being precocious and getting into things. So when we went out, they didn't tend to get into things either. They just weren't used to getting into things. Parents are. I don't want to say what you're talking about, but yeah, they're not. But I get what you're saying. Most parents yell. Oh, most parents yell. Yeah. When I get a client like for coaching, and I say, "Do you yell?" And then I'm ready to put down no yelling as their rule in the behavior board, and they go, "No, I don't yell." I'm like, "This is me." What? Like it's so unusual to get a parent who doesn't yell. Sometimes I'll get 2 parents who say they never yell. So, and it's that rare that it throws me off. Oh, okay. Well, what other rule can we come up with? But yeah, it's that common. You just yell because you don't know what else to do. You keep saying, "Please answer me," but I don't know what you're asking. Sometimes I will skip questions because it just scrolls fast, or else I try and mix up the ages. So, broad free. It's board free in her bio. My behavior board's free and it's in my bio up there. It's on my website, bratbusters.com. And there are imposters out there because I kind of blew up on TikTok about a year ago and all these imposters came out. That's what happens. It's just unfortunate. People have been taken advantage of, like financially, thinking they were hiring me, but they weren't. And a few people have told me it's nothing I can do about that, right? They're just out there criminals. And but yeah, if you go in my TikTok bio here, it's all linked to my website. I'm a yeller, so I'll do that because I've been working on it every day. I'll do that. Perfect. Okay. That's true. I told my son to stop saying sorry. Sorry is not a bad word, but it's just the start. There's other stuff. It's not an apology. It's just the start of it. It's sorry. Now here comes the apology. You know what I mean? It's just like, sorry, it was all my fault. What can I do to make it up to you? That's, I know that whenever someone does like keep me waiting in the rain or something, like just rude because they're late all the time. And then when they turn up, they'll say, and I don't have anyone in my life that does that anymore because I eliminate them. It's so disrespectful. So, but in the past, they would turn up and they'd say, "Oh, sorry, I was late." And I never said that's okay. They always expect that. "Oh, that's okay." I never said that. I said, "Oh, well." And they were like, "I said I was sorry." I said, "What do you want from me?" Like, it's not okay. Where's the amends? Where the, "Hey, I'll buy you a drink. Hey," like, where's the amends? It's so disrespectful, but I guess they've been raised to say sorry and they can get away with anything. Do you have any biting articles? Oh, articles on biting. You mean, I have a course on that if you're interested. It's a mini course and it's on my website, bratbusters.com, and it's toddlers who hit, bite, all that kind of stuff. Sorry, got an appointment coming up. If you're interested in that. But yeah, it's just consistent corrective action. They don't learn through words, they learn through actions. And it has to be consistent and repetitive because they learn through repetition. My 8-year-old son used to be so sweet. Just a sec here. I lost it. Going back, going back. I get dizzy when I do it too. So Oh, so sweet. Okay, is now angry, often bossy, and mean towards me. I don't know what's happened. Usually something's happened, or hormones could be coming in. Those are the two things that around that age. 9 to 12 is tweens. Eight's young for that to happen. But either something's happened that has upset him. Don't worry, it might not be anything huge. It could just be something that triggered him at school that you don't know about. Maybe a friend rejected him or said something nasty to him. Because if something's going on with other people, they usually take it out on their parents if they don't feel empowered to deal with it. So I don't know what's going on there. I'd have to, if you want my help, you'd have to hire me on bratbusters.com and I could assess the situation. Bum, 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 bum. How to be consistent living in a society that allows kids to not respect. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. Are you the leader or is society the leader? I raised my kids. Society did not raise my kids. I did it. I was a leader. So yeah. Yeah. I have 4 kids, 10, 8, 4, and 1. How do you keep track with all the craziness? It seems impossible. Get systems. Systems, systems, systems. That's why school works with systems, because it helps to organize everything. So just have, there's 3 different things that you really want to have systems around. One is bedtime, one is school morning routine. So bedtime routine, school morning routine, and mealtime routine, usually dinner routine. So just start with one at a time though. I would suggest if you've got all that age, do bedtime routine. If you want my help with that, because it's different with all of them, you don't send them all to bed at the same time. It's different. Anyway, if you want my help to organize all those systems, then you can hire me. That would be probably 3 sessions to work on that minimum. Anyway, but yeah, get systems in place. Put them on the behavior board, and you do something like this. You say follow bedtime routine. Then on a separate sheet of paper, you have a bedtime routine. The rule is follow bedtime routine, 1 per week. You don't try and do it all in one day. It's like trying to lose 60 pounds in 1 week. You got to do it. You know what I mean? You got to build a habit and it's got to take time. So that's why it's only 1 rule per week. When my daycare kids' mom gets here, I can't discuss daycare. I teach parenting. How do you deal with disrespectful, rude kids? That is a sign that that you're not a leader. If they're disrespectful and rude, it's just a tell. It just means you're not a leader. They don't respect you. So you got to set yourself up as a leader. We're never fixing kids. They're not broken. They're just reacting to what they're getting, leadership or not. That's what they're reacting to. It's never their fault. If they're disrespectful and rude, that's on you. Take the responsibility. You're the parent. Be the leader. It's on you. Whenever kids acted up when I was babysitting or mentoring them, my own kids, I had respect when they were little. So they weren't rude at all. But when I was babysitting other kids, whenever they acted out, once after a couple hours, once they understood I'm a leader, if they acted out, I thought, what am I missing here? I never blamed them. I always thought, I got to up my leadership skills here. It's always on you. You're the adult. It's never their fault. So yeah, it's just work on your leadership skills. That's all I teach. If you want to know how to be a leader, keep watching. You'll start to get it. If you want to hire me, we fast track it. But if not, just keep watching. Lots of parents, I get emails every single day, parents saying, you've just changed our lives. Every single day I get that. Hopefully for the better, but you know what I'm saying. It's just leadership. My 16-year-old thinks I'm against him for telling him to do schoolwork. No, he doesn't, because he knows that you're just doing what he needs. So he doesn't think you're against him. He just doesn't like what you're doing. That's all. So there's a difference there. Okay. Well, I don't know what your relationship is, so I can't comment. People with teenagers, they always want to talk about what the kids are doing, what they want to correct. I don't do that. The first 2 weeks, all we're doing, if you hire me, it's usually 5 weeks with teenagers. The first 2 weeks, all we focus on is you're connecting with them. With little kids, you get respect by disciplining them. With teenagers, you've got to get respect before you can even think about disciplining them. So you got to work on bonding with him. And that's all we work on. Yeah, it's on my behavior board. But I have got a whole bunch of videos on teenagers on here. So just look up Bratbusters Teenagers or something. And it'll sort of go into some of the ideas. I think I just did one. I just did a video on how to connect with your teenager. I'm pretty sure I just did one. Did I? I don't know. Pretty sure I did. Oh, I've actually got 4 people watching me on YouTube. I'm on TikTok usually. So if on YouTube, if you have any questions, feel free to type in there. Usually people who do turn up on YouTube are from TikTok. I'm just not really on YouTube a lot. I'll get more into it. Just it's time, right? Just don't have a lot of time. How do you believe teens with drinking and smoking should be handled? Um, okay, I'll never condone underage drinking, and I'll never condone smoking. I'll never condone any of that. The only power you have is to build your connection with them first. And then you can start to discuss stuff like that with them. But you got to build the connection first. They're going to keep doing stuff behind their back if they don't respect you. So you got to work on connecting with them. And then once you do, they will care a great deal more about what you think and what you say. It's just the way it works. You can't put the lecture before the connection. You got to put the connection first before you think about lecturing. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to connect with them. So any advice on an almost 3-year-old being just plain defiant when you've corrected an action or behavior? You just ignore that stuff, but you can only deal with one thing at a time usually. So you just decide, I'm going to correct this behavior this week, next week, another one. I'm assuming you're not being consistent. They're going to remember the one time out of 100 that you didn't do the right thing. So that's why you only pick one thing, one behavior that you're going to work on, because you can't be 100% consistent with everything. I would go in, I would deal with everything in the first day, guaranteed. But I'm level 10 with what I teach, right? But if you're learning how to do this, you can't be consistent. But I make it a job. I watch them like a hawk and I correct everything. But I mix it with a lot of fun because it doesn't work. If you're just correcting all the time, they're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable. You got to learn how to balance it out with a lot of fun. Focus on the fun more than anything. And then when you correct, they want that fun back. So you see, I always said my power was I was fun. And with teenagers, I was funny. I used humor. So they wanted that, Lisa. So that was my power. I always called humor my weapon of choice. Like, how do you get all these kids to respect you? My weapon is humor. I always said that. I don't know why I smiled like, oh, that's what I always said. Wasn't that cute? I always said that. I don't know why I was so impressed with myself for a second there. Crazy. My 3-year-old says I'm going to hit myself, bang my head if he doesn't get his way. Say, well, if you do that, I'm going to have to hold you down. So just restrain him if he does. So yeah, it's just talk about a threat. I wouldn't let a 3-year-old threaten me. Well, sure, you can try that, but I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to keep you alive. That's my job. How do I stay funny once my kids are teenagers? Yeah, I was just corny. They found me really boring. Something that was really funny though with my son was no, but you're easy to talk to. That's the thing. My power was I was a great listener. My kids told me everything. So that was really my power. But my son was 18, and from the time they were little, I always during laundry day, which was every single day, I put undies on my head when the legs were my eye holes, and I'd call myself the panty monster and chase them around the house. Throughout the years, as they got older, once in a while, I would put panties on my head and just walk past them and not say anything, like just a reminder. Remember Panty Monster? Anyway, one day he had some friends over, and he was 18, and he had some friends over, and they were all down the rec room, and the rec room was near. I had to go through there to get to the laundry room. So I came out of the laundry room with underpants on my head, and I never said a word. I just walked past them, and all of his friends were like this, like what the heck? And so my son said, Mom, enough with the underpants on the head. So yeah, that's when I was not funny anymore. So yeah, and I don't talk a lot about my style as like that because that's my personality. I'm goofy. I'm very, I'm always going for the laugh, and that's my style. I don't talk about that a lot because you don't have to do that to get respect. Most of my clients are not goofballs like I am. Like you don't have to be. That was just my style. But I still think you always connect with your kids in their world. You don't connect with kids in your world. You don't connect with a 3-year-old at the nail salon. You connect with a 3-year-old at the park rolling down the hill with them, right? You connect in their world, not yours. Okay. I'm going to have to get going soon. How about if a 3-year-old crying all the time when there is a transition? What do you mean by a transition? You mean going from one place to another? I don't know what you mean by that. Can your kids express their emotions well now, or most so just deal with it? Well, they always were expressing their emotions. So they never had any problem with that. And my son, boys are different usually, so he's not. But my daughter and I, we see each other every day. She's 28 now. We're best friends. Yeah, they never had any problem with that because we talked about everything. So yeah, because I'm very expressive. So I wear my emotions on my sleeve. My heart's on my sleeve in my personal life, and so yeah, they had no problem expressing themselves. Because I was always asking their opinion on stuff. I really love this. What do you think? What do you think? So yeah, I was always asking their opinion. And then often I said, I love this. What do you think? Oh no, I don't like that, Mom. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, let's try your way. So their opinion meant something. So when they said something, I thought maybe I would like that too. I'm very much that way. Like I always talk like this. Oh, I absolutely hate that. I would never do it. You should give it a go, Mom. Oh, okay. I'm very impressionable and very open. Like I get excited by things very easily. So, but yeah, and they often had ideas that were way better than mine. So yeah, you want that. You want your kids to feel valued, like their opinion matters. I remember someone said, how come your kids talk to you about everything? How do you do that? And I didn't know how to answer. That was a long time ago. And I just thought, because they said every time my kids talk to me, they don't want to hear my my response. So, and I said, and I know now what was happening. They were listening to gather information to lecture with. I just listened to understand. And then I might say something like this: do you want to talk about it? Got any ideas? I never told them what to do. Um, my mom was brilliant at that. She listened. And then if I was upset about something, she'd say, well, what do you think you should do? Or, you're a smart girl. You can figure this out. And we'd talk about it. So my opinion was huge. I felt hugely valued. And I know my kids did too. Their opinion meant something. It's very impressionable to their opinions. I respected them. They had great ideas. I have the same issue on repeat, not listening, enforcing rules, correcting behavior, and repeat. Yeah, you got to work on your leadership skills. Once you got that sorted out, everything falls into place. Maintaining respect is a piece of cake. Getting it's hard work. You got to work for that. You got to earn it. You don't demand it, you command it. You got to earn that. You got to work your butt off for it. I know people all the time I'd hear, oh, you're so lucky you got such easy kids. Anyone who knew me knew I'd put the work in. So, and then I could sail along right through the teen years, but I put the work in. I earned that respect. I didn't expect it to be handed to me. No way. I wanted to work for it. Well, this is an interesting one. I don't know what you mean by this. I'm not a big fan of other people's kids, but my kids are at the age they want to do sleepovers. So you hate everyone else's kids? I don't know what you mean by that. You're gonna have to clarify that one. Any suggestions? Oh my goodness, for trying to teach your child how to regulate feelings? They're incapable, so no, no. That's the frontal lobe. They don't have that yet. Or if they do, it's just a whisper. But they do learn, because I know my son had tantrums. My daughter, they're either born to have them or they don't. My son had them, my daughter didn't. But my son's tantrums would be a lot worse and last a lot longer with their dad. With me, he just knew that I wasn't going to give it any attention at all. So he just learned to stop. He just learned, oh, maybe there's a better way of communicating with mom. Because as soon as he'd stop, I'd say, oh, do you want to go to the park or something like that? So I reward the calm, not the crazy. I ignore the crazy and reward the calm. They just learn a better way to express themselves. If you give it tantrum any attention, you're feeding it and encouraging it. Input the work in. I'm just not sure it's in the right way. Well, that's what I teach. And my way is probably not the only way. I'm a gluten-free health food vegan. Now, do you think I'd ever tell anyone else to be vegan? Not in a million years. That's just my way. It works for me. It just works for me personally. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. Like I would never tell my personal life. I've never told anyone how to parent in my life. And I'll never tell my kids how to parent either. That's my personal life. But if I had a vegan channel, I would talk about what it's doing for me and what it's done for me. But I don't in a million years think anyone else should be vegan. And I don't in a million years think anyone else should be parenting the way I talk about it, unless it resonates with you, unless you want that, right? And there's lots of different ways out there. I'm not arrogant. I don't think that there's one way for everybody. And if you have super easy kids, you can probably do everything right or everything wrong, and they're still going to turn out fine anyway, right? How to react correct 9-year-old when they say no and give attitude. It depends on what they're saying no to. Hey, we're going to go to school, and he says no. Well, it's happening. So, depends on what they're saying no to. Is it a negotiable or a non-negotiable? But also, is it done just with, and I don't address attitude, by the way. Attitude just says they don't respect you. Attitude is just end result of them lacking respect for you. That's all it is. So yeah, you got to work on your leadership skills. Remember, we're never fixing kids. We're fixing you. We're setting you up as a leader. Once you're a leader, kids just want to please you. And when they're teenagers, they just enjoy your company, and they don't want to disappoint you. They don't disrespect you. You want them to be their own leaders when they're teenagers. Someone said it's made a huge difference on my 2-year-old. Ignoring the tantrum? It really does. They just learn, hey, wait, this ain't working. I'll find another way. It's a communication tactic. Tantrums are a communication tactic. They're not a feeling at all. There are people on TikTok that aren't a fan of when you say ignore. I'm very aware of that, and I'm a big threat. And how do I put this? Beyond thrilled. Because it means I'm making a difference. If I'm a threat, that's a good thing, right? It just is. I'm making people think. And maybe if people go on the attack, it means that you are of value to them. They don't realize what they're doing for me. It's actually a compliment. But when they attack you, it doesn't make them look good at all. But also it says that I'm in some way, I've touched them in some way. So like if I just think someone's an idiot out there and they're just spewing idiocies, I would never say anything. Like, you know what I mean? But if they got under my skin, although I'm not susceptible to bullying, but if someone really got under my skin, I'd be more likely to, question myself. Like I'd think, why is that bothering me? So, and that's what they're doing. They're just not aware of it. I'm bothering them. I'm making them question themselves. That's all that means. It's just basic psychology stuff. This is interesting, and I'm just gonna read this. You're cool. I agree with some pieces gentle parenting teach, but I like yours too. Pieces of each. I've never looked at gentle parenting. I don't know much about it other than what people have told me. But if I'm insulting anything, it's just a specific method. It's not a whole genre of what's being taught or anything. It's just certain things that I talk about. It's just that specific method. But what I want to say is, if you're going to follow a parenting path, pick a path. Don't pick and choose what you like from each one. Because if you were to throw timeout into my method, it would tank. Because I think timeout's mean and disrespectful. I hate it. I think it's horrible. I think it's mean. And I teach respect. If you were to throw timeout into my parenting path, what I teach, this calm leadership stuff, it would tank. It's like dieting. You don't pick and choose what you like from different diets, right? You don't pick and choose what you like from different parenting people either. You pick a path, go for 3 weeks. If it doesn't work, go on to the next path. But yeah, I don't like mixing stuff because then it's going to water mine down. Because if you were to do timeout with my stuff, it wouldn't work at all. Because I think it's really mean. And I don't know who teaches timeout because I've never looked at anyone else. I was asked to do a panel of people are not arguing, debating different parenting methods, and I said no. Why would I do that? I've got nothing to defend. And but I thought then I would know who's teaching what. And then if I was to insult any method, I would be insulting that person, and I don't do that. So then I couldn't talk about it, could I? Like when I'm cutting down timeout, I don't know who teaches it. I don't know anybody else online. Nobody. I'm very careful with that. Because if I knew who was teaching it, then I couldn't insult them, then I'd be a bully, wouldn't I? I'd be tacky. I would see that as trashy. I just couldn't do it. So yeah, that's why I can say anything I want because I don't know what anyone else is teaching. But when they come after me, I love it. What would you do instead of timeout? You do, if they're under 3, you do consistent corrective actions. So it's just an action in the moment, and then you forget about it. There's none of this timeout. I won't go into it. I hate timeout. And I hate everything about it. But anyway, it's consistent corrective actions. If they're under 3, if they're 3 and over, it's on the behavior board. The behavior board has a short life. It goes from like 3 to 6 weeks. You can use the odd behavior board after that, but it's just teaching you how to do this leadership stuff. You want to do in the moment discipline as a follow-up to the behavior boards once they're 3 and over. And but anyway, that's more coaching, but a lot of parents, they've watched me enough that they can do it on their own anyway. Depends on what level of struggles you're going through, right? The super nanny teaches that. That's the only person I've ever seen, and the only reason I ever saw her was because I was asked to do a huge network show. Twice now I've been asked to do it. That would go all over, a huge channel. And it was with teenagers. It was like a super nanny, but with teenagers. So they said, and I didn't know what the super nanny was. So they said, watch her. It's the only reason I watched that show. And then I realized I'm not going to embarrass families on TV, especially with teenagers. You embarrass a teenager on national TV, they might do themselves in. Right? Could you imagine? How irresponsible of me to do that? Anyway, that's with teenagers. They literally could do themselves in. And I'm not going to embarrass parents either. It's just not me. I'm not comfortable with that. But anyway, the super nanny, she doesn't have kids for one thing. So she only talks about young children. Plus, she knows how to get respect. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to get respect. It's just a different style from mine. And I already said there's not one way or the highway. I don't believe in that with religion or color or anything. I think there's lots of different ways out there. This one just suits me, and it's worked for me for 51 years. And it worked with me growing up. I loved it. I felt very confident and validated and loved. And then I did it with my kids too. So yeah. Pouting, ignore, or consequence. Oh gosh. Think about it. If a kid went like this, do you think I would give them any attention at all? Oh my gosh, no. No, ignore. Ignore. It's just their way of trying to get their own way. This means I want to get my own way. That's all that means. How's your book coming along? Oof. Not at all. Actually, I'm so busy on my courses. I'm really busy with this course. The course should be available next week. And I know what I'm doing now. I know where my lineup is. Book is last because I want to do this course, 3 to 12-year-olds. Then I'm going to do the teen one. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do a toddler course because it's like toddlers are crazy. Don't try and make sense out of them. The end. I just don't know if I could fill up a whole course on toddlers. But anyway, I won't be doing the teen one next, potentially a toddler course, and running those because there's group coaching in that too. Running all those will be a lot of work. So if someone approaches me like a big publishing house, which has already happened, but it didn't work out for me because it didn't suit, I wasn't quite ready for it. If a big publishing house came up to me today and they were going to write it for me, just using all my methods and interviewing me, then I would do it. But for me to write it, it might be a year down the road, if probably more. It's a lot of work writing a book, and I'm no good at it. I'm no good at writing. I'm just lousy at it. So thanks very much for asking, but yeah, I'm lousy at writing. Can you see my questions? I don't know what to do at start school. So, okay, I'll look for your question soon. So what's your question, Bree? He throws some, eats some. How old? 16, 6, 2? What age, Bree? Just tell me. Throws food and eats it. Is that the question? He throws some, eats some. Oh, I see. So he doesn't throw it and then pick it up and eat it. 17, 18 months. They're just crazy. If they're throwing food, though, if the second they start to throw it, you have to be consistent with this. As soon as they throw food, you say no, and then you hand feed them. There's no way I would let a toddler who just threw food have any food in their hand after that, in that meal. I would just hand feed them. I don't care if they're screaming, having a fit. I'm just acting like I don't even notice it. I'm just there. If they want some, then I'll hand feed them. They learn. It's one hell of a bad meal, but it's one of those good to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. It's one of those. You never be afraid of a scene. If you're afraid of a scene, how are you going to do any of this? To me, every time a kid threatens a scene with me, I'm like, bring it on. Behind every scene is a lesson. You got to be willing to go through the scene. What about refusing most foods? I don't get too into that because that's a nutritional thing. I just tell people what I did with my kids. I'm not recommending this, but anyway, and most people hate this advice anyway. I'm a real health food nut. Like right now, I'm a gluten-free health food vegan and I work out every day. I'm nuts with all this stuff. It's my whole lifestyle, right? And when my kids were growing up, I always worked out every day, but when I could, when I wasn't pregnant and that. But anyway, I just had healthy food in the house. We didn't have junk food in the house. My kids' options were this healthy food or that healthy food. There was nothing junk. We maybe had, sultanas, which in Australia, it's raisins over here. But in Australia, there's sultanas. But they couldn't even eat that until they just knew. So yeah, you can either have this healthy food or that healthy food. And as they were growing up, I catered to what they did and didn't like, because I do believe that they have very sensitive taste buds. So I knew the foods that they liked and I cooked around it. They couldn't demand every single food every day, but I cooked around what I knew they already liked. But then when I introduced something new, they had to try it as they got older. 3 and over, not a baby like that, but 3 and over, they had to try everything, but they didn't have to eat it. And because their taste buds are changing all the time, they often would have to try the same thing many times in a year. So they just had to try it. And sometimes they'd say, oh, this is good. And I'm like, you just had that last week and you hated it. But anyway, I probably would have said that too. Well, you hated it last week. What's new? Anyway, so that's how I managed it. But, to each his own. I don't have any great advice around that. I just did what worked for me. My toddler refuses and cries when I put her in her car seat. What do I do? You got a toddler who refuses to get in a car seat? You can overpower a toddler, so you have to get them in the car seat, or else you're going to have them floating around in the car and dying. So yeah, they just go in the car seat. My son was the one who had tantrums, and sometimes he didn't do it every time. He didn't have a lot of them, but he had them. But he would go completely stiff when I try and get him in the car seat sometimes. So, he'd almost go like that. They're so stiff. So I just wait him out. I wouldn't look at him or anything. I just wait him out. I'm waiting, and he's screaming. Anyway, I'd wait until he'd take a breath or weaken a little bit and then fold him in half and snap, he was in. I didn't care how he was acting. He was getting in that car seat. So, and he just learned. He would have been more likely to do that stuff with Dad. Dad was more likely to give into that. Okay, well, how about if you, there's no way I would talk like that. Anyway, eventually his dad said to me, he says, he pushes me more when I'm out. He acts out more. And I said, just say to him, do you want me to tell Mom? And that worked every single time. That was the same with my parents. Mom was the leader. Dad let me get away with a lot. When I tell her no, she doesn't listen. What would you do? Well, just keep following. It just means she doesn't respect you. Work on your leadership skills. That's all it is. When you're a good leader, they listen. They just do. It's never about them. It's never the kid's fault. They're just reacting to your parenting. That's all it is. Their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. So if they're misbehaving, work on yourself. That's all this. It's all I teach. It's all on you. It's funny how parents would rather blame their little innocent children and not themselves. Like until they get it. They go, oh, it is me. Why was I able to get respect from hundreds of toddlers, children, teenagers? Was it them or was it me? Was it my leadership skills or just they happened to be good the day I was working with them? See what I mean? It's all you. It's all you. So work on your leadership skills. That's all. I don't teach toddlering. I don't teach. Someone actually wrote to me and they said, will you do a session with my 3-year-old and set them straight? I don't even know if I answered that. I didn't even know what to say. Yeah, you be good. I was literally like confused. I didn't know what to say. I would have said I teach parenting, not kidding. But anyway, keep putting her in timeout. Oh, I hate timeout. Can't stand it. I think it's mean. So I do not agree with timeout. How did you develop such self-confidence? I was born with this. My mother said I was born like this. So yeah, sorry, and my mom, both my brother and I, though, my mom was a very social, very extrovert, social, warm, funny lady, could talk to anybody. And she was kind of magnetic. Everyone loved my mom. And I think my brother, I don't know if I can't speak for my brother because we were raised like 16 years apart. So I was basically in a house with 3 adults by the time I came along. Anyway, but watching her, also they're modeling, you're modeling behavior for your kids. So I think she had a lot to do with that too. But yeah, but she also said you were born very confident. So it doesn't mean that like when you're confident, I'll walk into any room Wouldn't cross my mind to be self-conscious. Wouldn't even dawn on me to be self-conscious. Um, which I think is weird. It's like, it's not that I think I'm better than anyone else. I just don't think anyone's better than me. You see the difference? I'm never impressed by people. I just enjoy people and like them, but no one wants to be impressed. They just want to have fun. I'm never impressed. You know, people try and impress. I just give them a wide berth. Oh, look at my car. Look at this. Look at that. Look at, yeah, I'm like, oh, boring. So yeah, no one's better than me because we're all sort of the same. That's the way I look at it. We're all the same. You're going to connect with people or you're not. If people hate me, chances are it would probably be mutual because you just don't connect, right? There's none of that chemistry with anyone. Like you either have it or you don't. I really believe that. So, and I believed that from a very young age. I did. I really did. My mom used to say putting children in timeout is humiliating for a child. It is absolutely humiliating. Could you imagine? Think about it this way. If you're at work and your boss says, look, you made a mistake, go sit in that corner. Could you imagine how humiliating that would be? It's the same feeling with children. God, I love that. Thank you for your mom is so smart. Timeout is humiliating. What's your name? Oh, geez. I'll just call you Donna. Donna. Timeout is humiliating. I'm going to do a video on that. Donna's mom. Good one. What a good way to put it. It is humiliating. I never figured that out. I never put that word in there, but that's exactly what you're shaming them. Shame on you for doing that. Shame on you. You go in that corner. You're not even worth talking to. I hate it. I've never done timeout. I hate it. It was never done to me. I just think it's mean. I always said it's mean, but now, thank you so much for that. Thank you. So yeah, imagine if your boss did that to you. It's exactly the same feeling. I have the computer up. I still use a pen when I'm making notes on here. I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna do a video on that. I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Donna, what do you do instead of timeout? So you're asking Donna, what do you do instead of timeout? Donna will have to answer that. Are tantrums and emotional meltdowns the same thing? I don't call them emotional meltdowns. There's tantrum scenes, fits, outbursts. They're all kind of just a loss of control. That's what they are. They may start with emotions, but once they're underway, their momentum, it's like a truck going down a hill. Has nothing to do with emotions at that point. Nothing. Okay. What's a good alternative to timeout? If they're under 3, it's consistent corrective action. So you just say no when you take a toy away or something. When they're over 3 and over, you use my behavior board. It's free on my website, bratbusters.com. It's all in my bio on here on TikTok. And you just use the behavior board and you start there. You start rules and consequences. And you only deal with one behavior per week because you got to master how to do it with one. You can't do it with them all. I would. Day 1, I do everything. But I'm level 10 at what I teach. You're just learning. You got to go to level 1, then level 2. And anyway, it's all free, behavior board. If you want to hire me to fast track all that, the behavior board explains itself, but everything outside of that, you got to hire me. Behavior board, lots of people get great results with that. Depends on what level you're at with struggling. You're new here, welcome. I've been doing this, I'm on here every day now for about a year now. And so yeah, welcome. Try not to get to that point. It's trying to communicate on any level or age. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, but communication isn't like when they're toddlers, it's not words, it's actions. It is not words with toddlers. That's your world, not theirs. Do you know one of my real pet peeves is, I mean, this came in about 25 years ago. I think it was about 25 years ago when all this like pleasing parenting style came out. I thought, oh my God, we're in big trouble here because the pleaser parent, I said, but this is what I said is going to happen. I said in 25 years, we're going to have all these adults walking around who are self-entitled snowflakes, and they just expect everyone to roll out the red carpet. They want all their feelings validated by everybody all the time. But yeah, and they're going to have mental health issues because they're weak. They haven't been taught to handle adversity and handle the tough stuff. They just haven't been taught anything like that. Their parents have been trying to make everything so easy on them and trying to, what you're doing is you're raising very weak individuals. They need to have some adversity. The authority parent, both parents are going to have troubles in the teen years. The pleaser is going to have their teenagers wiping their feet on them. They're going to be doormats. The authority is going to have big resentment and fights going on with their teenagers. But they're going to have stronger individuals. If you're going to err on the side of the pleaser parent or the authority, err on the side of the authority, the old-fashioned way, that my way or the highway. I don't like either one of them. I'm the leader. It's very different. But the authority raises tougher adults. You look at any immigrant, kids who've been raised by immigrants who were tough on them, they usually appreciate the way they were raised. And they're usually tougher themselves. They have a lot more confidence. And they don't tend to have as many mental health issues. Behavior board is free on my website, bratbusters.com. Oops. Oh, I gotta go. I got a session. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. My website again is bratbusters.com. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board on there. And I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye now.